Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I thought I would just do a nice casual video and answer some of your questions. I did a post on YouTube and I did a post on Facebook in my Facebook group, and you guys left me some really good questions. So I'm just gonna try to power through as many as I can so I can get to a bunch of them, because if I spend too much time answering each question, we're gonna be here forever. But a lot of the questions you guys did have for me, I do have videos on them. So if I don't get to your question, it might be because I already have a video on the topic. So you might just want to search that on my channel. And even the ones I answered today, I might have videos that go a bit deeper. So if I do, those will be just linked above. But anyways, for anyone who is new to my channel, welcome. My name's Kate, I'm a health coach, and I post videos on a high-fat, nutrient-dense way of eating. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, feel free to share, and make sure to subscribe. And make sure to follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, where I share new posts every single day. All right, intro done, let's get right into it. First question, how many grams of protein per meal and how much dairy per day to do on low-carb keto? So I'll answer the protein question first. The way I approach keto is different than a lot of other people, although I do think that this is changing. Keto used to be high fat, moderate protein, low carb, and I do agree with that, but I do think that there's not enough emphasis on protein. A lot of people who eat keto are afraid of eating too much protein. They've heard that if they eat too much, it can turn to sugar and it can kick you out of ketosis. In reality, it's not that simple. And I think a lot of people are under eating protein on keto, which might be the reason they are not feeling great. It might lead to them losing muscle mass, which might show up as losing weight, but you want to be losing fat, obviously, and not muscle. So the way I approach keto, low carb diets, carnivore in general, is prioritize protein, limit carbs, and then leverage fat. So what I mean by this is protein should be the first macro you look at. And in general, you want to be eating roughly 1 gram of protein, the macronutrient, per pound of your ideal body weight. So if your ideal body weight is 140 pounds, you want to be eating 140 grams of protein in a day. And I want to emphasize this isn't the weight of the meat. Obviously 140 grams of meat is not a lot of meat. This is the macronutrient. So depending on how many meals you eat, that will be split up differently. But I think the minimum you should be eating at one meal is 30 grams. And honestly, this is key. Anyone I've worked with who is having trouble with snacking or just not feeling satiated after their meal, usually it comes down to them not eating enough protein. And when they up their protein in their meals, they don't feel hungry in between. They feel satisfied after their meal. It's such a simple tweak, but it makes such a big difference. The second part to this question was how much dairy. Now, you don't have to do dairy if you eat keto. A lot of people do, and I don't think there's anything wrong with dairy other than the fact it is one of the few keto foods that is easy to overconsume. Cheese especially. But if you don't have trouble with over-consuming it, I mean, there isn't really a limit to how much you can consume. It just depends on the individual. I will say that some people find it stalls their weight loss. Now, that might be just because they're over-consuming it, like I said, and not realizing, but it might be other things as well. So there's no limit, there's no minimum of how much dairy you should consume. This one's highly individual. The next question, if you had to have a staple diet made from the most 5 nutrient-dense foods / ingredients, what would they be? Okay, so I have a few videos that go into the most nutrient-dense foods. Top of the list is gonna be cold water oily fish, so like salmon, mackerel, sardines. So I definitely put one of those on there. Maisie, don't scratch my couch. Probably either wild salmon or mackerel. That would be my first choice. Then definitely eggs. Eggs have a lot of nutrients that muscle meats, which are going to be my third one, are a little bit lower in. Vitamin K2, for example, Eggs are super nutritious. So one fatty fish, eggs, definitely beef or lamb, some sort of ruminant animal. These are also super nutrient dense. Beyond that, probably an organ meat, probably beef liver, even though I'm not the biggest fan of the taste, so I'd probably put beef liver capsules in there, / beef liver if you want to eat it. And my final one, bone broth. Definitely bone broth. Certain times of the month, I really crave sugary treats. How do I overcome this? And do you have any tips for people that work night shifts? All right, so I'm pretty sure this came from a woman, and I do have a whole video on eating and exercising based on your cycle, because as women, our bodies change throughout the month and how we respond to food and exercise changes as well. I will link that video up above, but basically in the second half of your cycle, your metabolism speeds up, and it can speed up and burn an extra up to, I think it's like 500 calories per day. So if you are eating roughly the same amount of food in the first half of your cycle as you are in the second half of your cycle, you're gonna be hungrier during the second half of your cycle because you're burning more energy and your body is just gonna have cravings. So to avoid this, you can just eat more in general in the weeks leading up to your period. Yes, Maisie? Yes? Do you just want some attention? Here. Oh, you're the cutest cat. What was I saying? These guys, they're so distracting. If eating more isn't working, then I find having a spoonful of coconut oil, a spoonful of ghee, that kills the craving in the moment. Otherwise, just keep busy, go for a walk, clean your house, just do something to get your mind off of it. If you can push through, it will go away. And the second part to that was night shift workers. Now, I talk a lot about optimizing light and the role that having our circadian rhythm in sync plays in our health. It's really important to get natural light during the day. This helps to keep you energized, keep you alert, and it's also really important to limit light in the evenings after sunset, specifically blue light, which is emitted in high amounts off our devices. Now, obviously, my tip usually is to wear blue light blocking glasses in the evening and to get sun exposure during the day. But if you're a night shift worker, this is a little bit tricky. Pretty much you have to do the reverse. So I would recommend a couple hours before you're planning on going to sleep, put on blue light blockers. And when you get up in the morning, maybe get one of those clocks that simulates the sun rising. That might help you feel more energized. It's definitely tricky. You pretty much want to do the best you can to get more light during the night and limit it during the day when you want to be sleeping. Yeah, it's definitely tricky. It's definitely not optimal to be a night shift worker, but definitely wearing the blue light blockers a few hours before you want to sleep, that's a start. That will make a big difference, especially in your sleep quality. I started carnivore on day 8 and trying to convince hubby to get on board too. Problem is he loves his alcohol. So I can convince him to go carnivore food-wise, but he will still drink alcohol. Do you or anyone have any experience on whether longer term he might feel less like drinking voluntarily or not eating this way? All right, so the thing here is that no one's perfect. We need to be doing what we can to improve our health. And even if we are still doing some things that are maybe not the best, as long as we are making changes in other areas, we're gonna see results. So I would just approach the food first with him, change his diet. Just don't bother looking at the alcohol at all right now. Obviously, it's not great, but just changing his diet will make a difference. Can low-carb keto diet help with high blood pressure? My husband, as of recently, tried to go low-carb to help with his type 2 diabetes. The thing with high blood pressure is it is one of the symptoms of insulin resistance and type 2 diabetes. And when you get your insulin resistance under control, when you get your blood sugar under control, then high blood pressure goes away. I can't stress enough how much these things are correlated. when he starts to see improvements in his blood sugar and he needs less of his medication for his diabetes, his blood pressure is just gonna go down automatically. And yes, a low carb diet helps with all of this. How do you deal with social events? Do you have a certain speech, answer, explanation when people who don't know about keto ask you about your way of eating? Have you ever eaten non-keto food in a social event for politeness? So my approach with social events is I give myself some leniency when I'm out. I am very strict with my diet when I'm home on a day-to-day basis. I cook basically all of my meals. I rarely eat out. So when I do eat out, I still try to eat as low carb as I can, but that's not always an option. So if I can't eat low carb, then I'll eat more paleo. And sometimes I don't want to eat like that at all, and I will just let loose a little bit. What ends up happening is I don't feel great after eating that way. So the next day I'm right back on keto. I am fortunate enough that I don't have any major health conditions or anything. So when I eat off plan, like I might just have some digestive distress and just like feel bloated and not great, but there aren't any serious consequences. Basically, my speech to people, I will just say that I eat a low carb diet generally. That resonates with most people, and I don't really need to go into it too much further. People just know what a low carb diet is, or they have an idea of what it is, and that's fine. Yeah, I don't really get into it too much with people unless they ask, and unless they start asking about keto and carnivore and whatnot, then I'll have a conversation. But in general, I just usually say I eat a low carb diet. I don't usually eat those foods. If I am eating those foods and people know I eat a low carb diet, I'm just like, I'm not strict about it. It doesn't matter. I eat low carb 99% of the time. So once in a while, not gonna kill me. I generally don't do this out of politeness though. I just do it more out of, think about why you started your health journey. You want to feel better. You want to have a better quality of life. You want to enjoy your life. And if you are going out to these social settings and you're worrying about food and about what you can eat, and you're stressing over this and you're not enjoying the day or the night, in those circumstances, your diet isn't working for you, it's working against you. So that's kind of how I see it. You need to take each situation and look at it and make a decision. Is eating off plan gonna benefit me, or is it gonna hurt me? Is it worth the trade-off? Those are the questions that you have to ask yourself. Is it okay to eat salmon that is farmed while eating eggs and beef that's not pasture raised and not grass-fed, grass-finished? Is this better to eat than to not eat any of it at all, especially the salmon skin? Again, this comes down to just making the best choices that you can. Now, when it comes to beef, all beef is grass-fed. It might just be finished on grains, and all beef is very nutritious. Nutrition-wise, grass-fed and conventional beef is only marginally different. If you want to know more about this, there's a book. It's called Sacred Cow, and it's written by Diana Rogers and Rob Wolf. And the whole book is about the importance of eating beef and quality beef. And in that book, they talk about how there isn't really that big of a difference between grass-fed and conventional. They dug through as much evidence as they could. They were trying to make the case that nutrition-wise, grass-fed beef is better, and it is slightly better in terms of nutrition, but not by a large margin. Now, when it comes to the environmental and the ethical arguments for eating beef, then for sure, 100% grass-fed beef is the way to go. But nutrition-wise, it's not that different. Now, when it comes to salmon, there is a bigger difference nutrition-wise in farmed salmon versus wild salmon. If you can't get wild salmon, I would recommend eating other cold water oily fish instead. Sardines, mackerel, anchovies, these are all great options. They're easy to find. You can usually buy them tinned, and they're inexpensive, and you can buy wild caught. How do I fix the low energy on keto? Started 3 weeks ago and still extremely tired. Usually this comes down to electrolytes. I would say make sure that you have your electrolytes in check, sodium especially. I do have other videos that talk about keto flu and like electrolytes and stuff. I will link one of those above. Usually it's electrolytes. Otherwise, it could be you're just not eating enough fat or you're not eating enough in general. Usually by 3 weeks, you've become slightly fat adapted, so your energy should be picking up. I would definitely look into your electrolytes. Can you do intermittent fasting every day? Does it work better fasting 16 hours at the least? Yes, you can definitely do intermittent fasting every day, but I don't think that intermittent fasting is necessarily better the longer you go. Like OMAD, fasting for 23 hours in a day and only eating in a 1 hour window, I don't think that is optimal day to day. I think the sweet spot for most people is eating 2 meals, so 16-8, fasting for 16 hours, and then eating within an 8 hour window. This is a great strategy. You can easily fit 2 meals in there. Even fasting for 12 or 14 hours when you're first getting started, this is a great starting point. You will see benefits doing this. But yeah, I think for most people, for daily intermittent fasting, 16 hours is the sweet spot. Anyways, guys, I tried to get through as many of those as I could. I might do a part 2 to this, or on my vlog channel, I did get some personal questions about like my exercise routine and just some other things. So I might do more of a personal Q&A on my vlog channel. I will put the link to that up above. Haven't posted on there for a while, but I've been meaning to. So if you're not subscribed to that channel, head over there. I hope you guys enjoyed this. If you have any more questions, maybe I'll just get you to leave them down below in the comment section. And the next time I do a Q&A video, I'll just come back to this one and go through some of those. Thanks, guys. And if you did enjoy this video, you might also enjoy, what video should I recommend to you? My video on the different variations of fasting. I'm gonna link that right here. If you wanna check out my most recent upload, you can find it here. And if you wanna check out my keto diet and carnivore diet coaching programs, you can find them here. Thanks, guys. I'll see you next time. Bye.